What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Musical Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Mooney's old basement studio. I'm Moony, and as always, I'm gathered here by co-host Moony, who I'll pass it to introduce the guest.
Today, on a very special episode of Music Row Hideout, we have the one, the only, Sethicus Findlay.
Yes.
Who is, by the way, also Moony, in equal proportion to the way everyone else is also Moony.
Yes. Is there a reason you called me Sethicus? Did I tell you the story about?
Yes.
Okay, I did.
If we just pulled that out of our ass, that'd be impressive.
That's the most planned our intro ever was.
True.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we're hanging out outside.
At first, I was like, wait, a guy named Moony owned the studio? I thought it was Waylon Jenkins. But then I realized what was happening.
Yeah.
Because we are all Moony.
We are all Moony. Yeah.
We all sound like
Is this how cold start? Yeah.
Moon. For the audio-only listeners, we're doing an M symbol with our hands. And also, you should watch this on YouTube or Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know you can watch Spotify podcasts, but
It's a
you
new
can.
thing. Well, not a new thing. It's a thing.
It's a
And
thing.
frankly, if you watch a podcast on Spotify and it has video, you'll instantly know because it automatically pops up the video.
Yes.
So you'll find out.
Unless you're playing it in your car, in which case it's disabled. right?
CarPlay disables
Some
it.
CarPlay just turns
bullshit.
into a TV
That's
screen.
some communist nonsense.
It is.
That you can't play video
That
on
I can't
CarPlay?
do whatever I want in the thing that I own.
Okay.
True.
Yes.
So I just bought a Tesla Model 3.
Whoa, hey, congrats. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
He's a
It's-
fancy bitch.
It's used. It's but
So?
it yeah, I love it.
It's awesome.
It's the same car.
Yeah. Although I heard that they just I don't know if this is true, but I think they were announcing the new one maybe last night.
I mean, it's not like you were waiting for the new model. Like you were going to use
No,
one.
but now I'm kind of pissed. Damn it, maybe I needed to wait a month and maybe the prices would have gone down. And so I'm about to find out. It feels like what it feels like as a car is it's just a smart car.
Yeah.
And so it feels like the new iPhone release, except it's Elon instead of Steve.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh no, I don't get the 3 cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's
I literally
minuscule
heard what they're
updates.
announcing is one of the things is another camera on it. It is like an iPhone.
Yeah.
But I brought that up to say it has Netflix on it, but the Tesla has a lot of features that are controlled. You can't do Netflix while you drive.
Yeah.
I can't think of all the other ones off the top of my head, but there is a lot of things that it will and won't let you do.
Yeah.
I'm sure out of safety / if people started doing lots of stupid things and getting in accidents, they would get a bad reputation.
Yes.
And it would kind of go again. I think they're trying to convince the world right now
That's
that
cool.
self-driving cars are safe. And so there's all sorts of restrictions on auto steer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To keep you you have to touch it every 15 seconds to let it know you're there.
Oh.
Gets a little annoying.
What's the point? I want to take a nap and put my car on auto
Yeah,
drive.
that's why they have that setting. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, it's you probably maybe could, but also if somebody gets in an accident that way and dies, then it ruins their
Yes.
campaign of convincing the world
Totally.
it's safe.
I was kidding, by the way. I don't want to take a nap while I'm driving a self-driving
No,
car.
a guy got
Just
arrested
want to
for
get that
that.
on record.
Like a video
You
went
always
viral
start
of
off
a guy.
controversial.
My
Commercial.
mind, anytime I think of self-driving cars, my mind instantly goes to iRobot.
Yeah. Well, no. Minority Report in my mind.
Oh,
That's where I
okay.
see it,
Yes,
but
that's close.
it's very
closely
similar.
related.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't seen iRobot in a long time.
Yeah.
Heavily self-driving car based.
I don't think so, but I think there's a
There
a
is
scene
a-
with a self-driving car.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're going from car to jumping car
Yes,
to car.
and I
they're
feel like the
all-
cars are going straight down.
Yeah, they're doing 90
something.
degree angles,
Yes.
crazy. Yeah, I can picture it.
This
That-
also sounds like Minority Report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think anytime I think of self-driving cars, I think about the future where we're sitting at a red light, all the traffic, it looks like there's a bunch of traffic. You're like, it's going to take me forever to get through this light. But because all the cars are talking to each other, we all go at the exact same time that the light starts and we get through the light.
Well, you won't
And
even need
that's
lights.
That's the dream future. Yes, we won't need lights. That's true.
Yeah, because what are we stopping for? The cars know to do that
That's
by
true.
themselves. That's just for human input.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Hopefully we won't need cars in the future. Hopefully we're all on fast public transportation that's good for the environment and free.
No, until we get
Wesley's
teleportation.
Wesley likes public transportation.
Yeah.
I'm way too. That'll all happen after I die, probably.
Yeah.
I'm way too in love with the autonomy of being able to go wherever I want, whenever I
Right.
want.
Like, what if you want to drive out of the
And
country?
You're just saying that because you just bought a Tesla and you're trying to justify it.
But even before that, like I've always felt that me and Wesley have a good friend named Austin. He's not friends with Jury, but we are.
I know Austin.
Yeah, but he doesn't like you.
True,
and
true,
so
true. That's
we
fair.
feel very. He's very into public transportation. He lives in New York City, and
Yeah.
he's like all about that. And I'm just like, no, I want to go vroom.
Yeah.
Same.
Yes.
100%.
I like listening to music in the car. That's like my
Right.
my favorite thing about driving.
And headphone music is different than speaker music.
Yes.
It feels different. It's a different thing. And when you're in the
Totally.
car, like, I don't want to be riding a train with headphones on.
Yeah, and like if I'm giving mixed notes on a song and I don't have a car to listen to it in, I can't talk today.
Words are hard.
What am I gonna do? I'm gonna buy a car just to listen to mixed notes on it.
Yeah, and then like turn that car back in.
Yeah,
Just a 1-day car.
exactly.
I was
Dealerships hate him.
I
I don't
was
just do mixed notes in car speakers. I do them in headphones too and other speakers.
like listen around,
Yeah, you listen around.
but like the car is kind of almost like the de facto proper listening space.
Yeah, car and headphones.
I was talking to a guy today. He came and bought a piece of gear for me, and he told me a story about a friend of his or a guy he knows that mixed one of the early Disturbed records, and he was like blew up because of that and got, I guess somewhat wealthy. So he was describing to me the most epic studio in the world that he built up in Chicago. And one of the things he did is he had a Cadillac brought into the studio. Like it was a 4-story building studio, and he brought a Cadillac into it with a great sound system so that you could go listen to your mix in a great car stereo right there in the studio. But apparently he went like $500,000 into debt before the studio could even open, and it got like taken away by the government. Like
Oh my
the IRS
gosh.
stepped in. And
To be fair,
What a
it's-
great idea, though.
Yeah,
So
but if you
cool.
listen to like a high-end sound system in a Cadillac, like you need to bring in like a 1993 Corolla, you know?
Yeah,
like
that's
what you
true.
need to be listening to it through,
And
not
then
some
burn it on a disc and put it in.
Exactly. That's how you'll really know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Truest sound there ever was. But what's been going on with you?
Well, I'm drinking kombucha. It's my latest obsession of the last 4 months, I would say, of my life.
Okay.
It makes me feel good, and I think it's placebo.
Do you like the taste?
I don't think it does anything to me, but actually, that's what I was thinking until I did some research on it. I love the taste. Yes, I love that it's like a great soda and beer replacement because you have the kind of like kick that the alcohol would have, and then you have the sweet that a soda would have, but it's really, really good for you. It's really good for you. And I was so skeptical about that because you read the back and it's like, oh, sugar. But it's the good kind of sugar. It's all natural. And the stuff, the way they make it, there is stuff that like does good things to your gut that no other thing you can and will consume does to your gut. So it's like the only place you can get certain gut beneficial probiotics. And I was
Can't
like,
just, like, take
no
a pill?
wonder this makes me feel good, because I really thought it was just placebo. Because my wife and her bass player, I drum in my wife's band, and her bass player and her would always drink kombuchas when we stopped at gas stations or like we're at the grocery store. I was like, not for me. But then they convinced me to try it. Well, I'd already tried it, but they convinced me to try it more frequently. And now I love it.
Okay.
And I want to make my own. I love kombucha.
Yeah, you gonna do some homebrew?
I really want to.
I know a lot. I know people who've done it. I don't think it's not that difficult. I don't think. But also, I have no idea.
I have an Amazon cart saved for everything I need.
Okay.
And I've done the research, and I really want to do it, but I
How
have
much
no
is it?
time right now.
Like, what's the whole Amazon cart?
It's
added
like
to?
$100 to get started.
so not
and
bad
then,
at all.
And then it doesn't cost anything pretty much.
Because they're like $4 or $5 a pop. The drinks themselves,
yeah,
right?
and it's gonna, once you brew it, it's gonna be like less than $1 per
Nice.
bottle if you home make it.
Yeah, I've
So-
only tried kombucha a couple of times, but both times I was like, this tastes like I'm drinking something with vinegar in it.
Yeah. I feel like it's polarizing.
Yeah, and I think that's super
love it.
gross. I don't
It's
get
so
it.
Good.
Like, I would like to like it because it's weird. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't like vinegar very much though, which
Fair.
I hear what you're saying about it being like kind of a soda beer replacement. Is it carbonated, or do they make carbonated ones?
It's
They're
very
all carbonated,
carbonated.
yeah.
Do you want to try this?
I do.
Here.
Thank you.
This
Okay.
is a new flavor that I haven't tried yet. It's pretty good. I think it's like guava based or something. But GT's
It's good.
Synergy is the best. Don't fuck with the other brands. GT knows how to do it. Also, if you
Okay.
go look up anything about GT, he's a very interesting character. He lives in
Is it
this
like
mansion that looks like a super villain lives in it. It's like all grays and like all the decor is sharp and jagged. And he on the daily has like a really caked on face of makeup that he looks like very well put together, but it's like almost like plastic looking.
Huh.
And he gives this like creepy vibe.
Is that the place?
That's his house. And then look him up. Look up GT Dave.
GT Dave.
He gives this creepy vibe, but he's actually a bro and he's so nice. And I've been watching some interviews and stuff with him, and he was like one of the first people in the States to like commercially bottle this stuff, and he makes it the best.
Oh,
and
I
the
see what you
healthiest.
mean.
He looks like a Ken doll.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you see,
But
like,
like
he
a-
has a more normal picture on the left, where he just
Yes.
looks kind of like just like a guy.
Was that before the surgery?
But he
Extreme daily Botox.
The Forbes did this interview with him that like portrayed him as creepy as he seems. I think they were just leaning into it. And then Cody Ko did a react video to that, and they were kind of like making fun of him in the whole video. And then GT saw that video and was like, hey, come over to my house and actually meet me. And then they met him, and he was actually just like super nice.
That's awesome.
And was talking about how his factories are like totally autonomously AI run, apparently. I've
What?
not fact checked that.
You're
Fact
drinking AI
checked
juice.
that. But he just, the process of the brewing is better than the others you can get.
I'm just glad it's purchasable at Kroger, because when you
Yes.
said a specific kombucha, I was like,
No, this is
I
everywhere.
sent it to him,
GT is
and
everywhere.
he was like, oh yeah.
I was like,
they
that's a
have it at
Kroger. I bought it for my
Yeah.
wife before.
I
Yeah.
was like, okay, good.
Yeah, my wife likes it. She also likes the ones with the chia seeds in them.
oh,
It's like, but I
have not had
look at it
that.
and it's like 1 billion chia seeds in it, and there's little tiny dots all throughout
Oh
the
my
drink.
gosh.
And I'm just like, all right, you've crossed the line.
That seems exciting to me.
really? I was just like, I'm not trying that one. I'm not.
I like chia seeds.
But on the flip side, I'll drink boba. Like I love boba. You know?
Yes, I just had boba today.
Nice.
I've had my fill of fun drinks.
Yeah, when we first moved here, because me and my wife are both big boba fans.
Yeah.
There were 2 boba places in Nashville when we moved here, and one of them people had just moved here from LA. So that was the one that was good. The other one sucked. Now there's like 30. There's
Yeah.
so many.
What's
And
y'all's
I love
favorite?
it. We've been going to this. Oh, what's it even called? It's like right up near like Village Wines, up near like 21st. It's not on 21st.
Okay.
It's called like Tiger's something.
Cool.
Or that's like their signature drink. It's like Tiger's Blood something.
Cool.
It's like a super weird
Yeah.
place, but it's really
There's
good.
a new otaku location opening like walking
yeah.
distance from us, and they're
maybe
gonna have.
you live walking distance from me.
Where do you live? Well, don't say your
Yeah, we
address,
won't say-
but I'm walking distance from there.
Okay, you need to know.
Oh yeah. Oh, does he not
every
know about this?
Fucking
Oh, no, he does.
episode
We bring
we've
that up.
done in the last year, we have told the guest about how you gave your address away on the air. Every single
Oh, but
one.
I did it as a joke, didn't I? And then y'all bleeped it out.
No, you did it as a joke, and you pressed that button.
Yes.
And as you can hear in our headphones, the sound goes away. The sound goes away.
Yeah.
But for everybody
Yeah.
listening, they'll notice it doesn't go away. It doesn't cut. So you gave away your address as a joke,
Oh yeah. Then
thinking
then
it was
you-
being cut.
Yeah, we didn't even know that's how it worked.
I didn't
at
know.
the time.
That's how I learned. And so I put it up on Spotify with your address.
Yes.
And then luckily I listened to every episode right
Yeah.
after they drop, and I was like, oh no, his address is live, and we had to swap it out. And so if you're listening to this, it's no longer.
If you're
available.
listening and you missed it, my address is.
Yeah.
So we've explained that to every guest who's come onto the show
Yeah,
since.
it's like a cautionary tale.
Don't do that. Yeah, just
That's
so you
funny.
know.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
live
we
walking
live-
distance
we-
from Otaku, so we
which is-
probably live close to each other.
Yeah, the one that
The
hasn't
new
been
one,
built yet.
like,
They're like
near
building it.
Southern Grist and
Yes.
Flora and Fauna.
Yeah, we live right by Southern Grist.
Amazing. We
yeah.
do too.
And
Okay.
so does Wesley.
Neighbors.
Yeah, because I live at Wesley's house.
Oh, nice. But I was saying the Otaku is going to have boba.
Nice.
So I will be walking distance from a new boba place.
That's dope.
Boba place.
Is it Sweet Dots, Jerry?
Mm.
I'm looking
That's
at,
the one
I don't
right
think
next
that's the place
to
I'm
the
thinking of.
end.
I'm looking at boba places.
Yeah, it's like between like 21st and Belmont somewhere.
The little pearls, the boba,
Yeah.
always reminds me of that scene in The Incredibles when he gets the big like black balls that I'm just gonna stop it there. The big black balls that like expand on him when they stick to him as he's running down that booby trapped place.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know.
They
I
look
can
like
picture the
boba
scene.
balls, and I always think of that.
Oh wow. Now, are you? Do you always get boba, or do you get like the other stuff, the jellies and the
Just like the milk tea with boba.
Yeah, yeah.
But I grew up in Singapore, and
Wait, what?
What?
the boba there is much different. It's not like
Talk about Singapore instead. That's more interesting than boba.
I just want to talk about boba.
How do we go through a whole podcast and never hear
Well,
this?
okay, I can talk about that, but let me finish my boba thought because the boba that I was used to as a kid was more like it was not milky. It was more like just a sweet juice with boba at the bottom, and I think you can get those at certain boba places. But I think the milk boba is Thai, right? I want to say. I could be wrong about that. But
Sounds
in
like
Singapore,
Thai tea.
they didn't have that Thai boba was not the kind that you would get
Interesting,
out and about.
yeah. Thai tea with boba is like number one. It's like my top drink. of all
Yes,
time.
I think I prefer the milky kind, but I remember being surprised. I remember thinking the first time I got boba in the States, I remember thinking they don't know how to do it here. But then I realized they're just doing like the Thai version.
So, parents missionaries?
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up,
subtract.
I was
Ding, ding,
born in Singapore and lived there until I was 12 years old. So
I wouldn't even doubt we did talk about that on the last show.
I don't-
Although you
I don't
just
know if we
listened
did.
to
I just
Did we?
re-listened to it, and no, we did not. Definitely didn't bring that up.
yeah, I don't think we did, but I feel like when people find that, I just kind of assume people know, and I don't know why I do that because I was 12
Well,
years
I
old.
mean, based on your
But-
look, I would guess that.
But yeah, I grew up there and I loved it. Singapore is awesome.
Have you been back?
No, I really want to go with Abby and just spend like a week and go to all my old stomping grounds.
That's awesome.
But you know,
Man.
I only know a like 12-year-old version of Singapore, like 0 to 12 version. Well, I guess my memory started at like 5 or 6, so that version of Singapore. So it was all very like I had a great childhood, and Singapore was a beautiful country, and it was awesome. Like I have nothing bad to say about Singapore.
That's amazing. I don't know much about Singapore outside of the fact I've heard it's very clean and like just beautiful.
Very clean.
And there's zero tolerance for breaking any kind of law.
Yeah.
Like they will publicly destroy you.
It's like a benevolent dictatorship. Like they're super strict, but it works for them because they're
right.
extremely wealthy, extremely clean. You can't buy gum in Singapore because people will spit it out on the streets and they don't want littering. So you can only buy gum at the airport. So if you're like going under a bridge, you won't see gum stuck on the top, like a pedestrian bridge or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's just clean. It's nice.
So
So
you
if
also-
they catch you littering, you'll get big fine.
Have you found a place in America that has like a similar level of cleanliness? Because no state does, or even city, but like, you know, like Franklin might be a little more clean than Nashville.
yeah.
Like, have you found a town or a place that's like comparable, or is it on a
Honestly,
whole nother level?
This is gonna be surprising to hear. I feel like Chicago is clean compared to like New York and LA.
That's
and
not the reputation.
I feel like going to Chicago, I had this initial thought like, oh, crime. It's like
Yeah.
tough
Right.
and rough. Chicago's like the most beautiful big city I've been in that was so friendly and like well kept. And the
Really?
streets are just so well kept. And they have a law there that you have to have certain every certain square miles there has to be greenery, like a green space, like a
Oh, interesting.
park kind of. So there's a lot of beautiful parks, and it's just a beautiful city. I'm assuming y'all been to Chicago. Have you been to
Yeah,
Chicago?
my
I've never been.
fiance's from Chicago.
Okay. Yeah.
It's really pretty.
It's so pretty. It's
Yeah, I've never been. I
It's
don't know.
great.
I'll have to go.
I love Chicago. It's not as clean as Singapore, but it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cleanest
Now,
big
have
city
you
in America.
have you gone
been
on
to.
the architectural tour in Chicago?
on the boat?
Yes.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing?
It's awesome.
It was so fun.
It is
especially
so
if it's
great.
like a pretty day.
Yes.
I was my favorite part of Chicago was the architectural
Same.
tour.
Dude, yes. If you're listening to this, you're going to Chicago or you live there, you got to go on the architectural boat tour. It is fascinating.
And were you like previously interested in architecture?
I've always liked
I didn't
architecture.
care, but I did like the tour. So no matter where you are on the spectrum, like it's
Yeah. But I only went on that tour because I was told you need to go on this
Yeah.
tour.
it's
I
like
wouldn't
a
have thought
sunny
about it.
day boat ride.
Yes.
But in a city because it has rivers all running through it, like canals, and so you're just like driving around and you see the whole city from a vantage point nobody else sees except people who do the tour.
Huh.
But also the boat, it had a tour guide up there who was like, that building was built in 1949. It was built by Schuyler Clarkson, and it was a Art Deco style. But you can go underneath and then just buy drinks or coffee.
Oh, you went on a different boat than me.
Oh, yeah?
Because mine didn't have two.
Oh, you didn't have a
two
double-decker?
decks.
Ours was double-decker. Upper level, obviously, you're like in the sun, seeing the things,
Yeah.
hearing the tour guide. Lower level, they had speakers for the tour guide,
Yeah.
but you're not like with all the people and being observed, and you could like go to the bar and watch
That's
from there.
great.
So it was,
Yeah.
there was a lot of freedom.
That's great.
So
I was
had a great
trapped.
time. Ooh, no.
But
Trap.
I didn't
Small
mind.
boat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Chicago, as I learned on the tour, like essentially when it burned down during the Great Fires, do you remember when that was? 1800s?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it burned down, it was this unprecedented opportunity to rebuild. And so all the like greatest architects in the world were like, ooh, blank slate to build a city? Yes, please.
Yeah.
And so all the best came together to try to make, when was that?
1871.
I knew it.
I just saw 6:42, which was the time. It's like it burned down at 6:42 p.m.
Exactly. The whole city.
But yeah, so it's like the world's best came together to make a skyline. So like it makes sense. So it's definitely a lot cooler than Nashville skyline. Let's put it
Oh
that
yeah.
way.
Yeah. Chicago's awesome. I'd only been once prior to last year, and now within the last year I've been like 8 times.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Just
Yeah.
for funsies?
A
Or do you have
couple
a
times
reason?
for fun and then other times for shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long is the drive there?
It's like
8 hours.
7 or 8, yeah.
Okay. That's
Depends
pushing
how
it.
fast you go.
I'm like, once you get to above 4 hours, I'm like, I'm flying. I don't want to be in a car all day.
Yeah.
You know? I don't mind a road trip, but I don't know.
Have
If you had
gone
a
to-
Tesla, you wouldn't even have to think about
Right.
it.
You just set it and forget it.
Well, you do have to stop to charge several times. Have you gone to Gene and Jude's?
No, what is that?
So that next time you go to Chicago, it's I don't even remember what part of the city it was in, but they've kept their prices the same since the 80s,
Wow.
and their hot dogs, they give you a normal-ish, maybe slightly bigger than normal size hot dog. Thank you. Yeah. So you see it's like super cool old vibey look. And it's a hot dog, and it's a really good hot dog, and they put the fries on the hot dog in the thing. So it's like a hot dog with fries
yeah.
on it, and you get a drink, and the whole thing's like, $4.20
Oh.
or something.
My gosh. And the fact that they've been able to survive
Yeah.
and they're doing fine, hopefully, maybe. I mean, they're open.
They're open.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are we adjusting our costs?
See, I don't think Chicago would like me. 'Cause I have 2 problems with Chicago, and they're both food related.
You're like
Okay.
exactly the right vibe for Chicago, by the way.
Just a little bit aggressive
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah. You're like a white guy who's like aggressive, but also nice. Like you're actually kind of a sweet guy, but you're aggressive. Like that is what they are. Like,
Fair enough.
can't shut your fucking mouth. Very
But
Chicago.
one, I know that ketchup on hot dogs is a cardinal sin, is what
Oh,
I've heard in
okay,
Chicago.
Oh yeah.
That it is. If
That's
you ask
like
for
a thing
ketchup,
in
like,
Chicago?
they'll
It's
murder
mustard.
you.
No, they don't. It's not automatic murder.
And I hate mustard.
Delayed murder.
Delayed.
Yeah, I hate mustard. I'm a ketchup on a hot dog guy. Like that would be a problem. But the
Yeah.
bigger issue is Chicago style pizza.
It's pie.
It's not pizza.
No, it's not.
great. Like when I've eaten it, I've been like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
But it's not pizza.
No,
It's
I agree
yeah,
with
a
that.
pie. Maybe lasagna. I could see that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's not pizza.
But it's good. Oh, now I'm hungry for it.
Right.
So when we last met you were engaged to be married
Yes.
on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
And then you presumably got married.
Correct.
Because you said wife.
Yes.
So how was the wedding and the honeymoon and how's married life?
Yeah. The wedding was perfect. New Year's Eve, so we started around like 6:30 and then went all the way to midnight. I feel like people came ready to party.
Nice.
And they did. Everyone was letting real loose. Super, super fun. Just a beautiful night. Perfect. Wouldn't change a thing. The honeymoon was awesome. We went to Hawaii.
Nice.
Classic.
Yeah, we just kind of did the classic touristy things in Hawaii. Honestly, while we were there, we were like, on the way to Hawaii, we were watching White Lotus season 1 when they're vacationing in Hawaii. And there's a lot of themes in that with like cultural appropriation and like kind of how white people have taken over Hawaii for not so much good reasons. And that was like at the forefront of our mind going to Hawaii. And the whole time we were there, we felt like super hyper aware of just like the locals and like how they maybe felt about tourists being there, and did not get great vibes. And so we had this, it was a beautiful, beautiful vacation that was awesome and like beautiful state, while equally feeling like, sorry. Like, sorry, we're here. But no, we loved it. We would definitely go back. And
Which island did you guys go to again?
we did Maui. Yeah.
Okay.
Maui.
And did the road to Hana and all that stuff, if you've heard of that or done that.
I think I've heard that term before,
Yeah.
but I have no idea what that is.
What?
Ohana mean family.
Family mean nobody get left behind or forgotten. I found them all by myself. They're broken, but good. Good.
I feel like you just had that in the chamber ready to go.
I have many Disney quotes in the chamber.
Yeah.
At all times.
That's the
my
Singapore
childhood.
life.
That's the Singapore life.
Singapore.
Watching Disney all the time.
Singapore, what do you call it? Missionary kid
Yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
Disney movies.
A lot of Disney and Lord of the Rings.
Oh, man. Now you we were talking about this a little before, and sometimes we don't jump into this right away, but actually maybe before we do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Were you about to say the same thing, Wesley? Is we should play a song so the people know
Yeah.
what you sound like.
Awesome. Hello, I'm Moony, and this is my new song, Fall in Love. That's fall with 9 L's. Let's get it. Let's drive to the back country road while the sunlight. I wanna catch that glimmer in your eyes. We'll get out of town and make a new memory in the moonlight. Got the windows down and hopes high. I wanna feel that wind make my fingers do a dance. You put me in a trance. Back up and let's drive. And ooh, that's the way you fall in love. You take a little picture of moments that'll form a canvas of the in-betweens. So just drive, fall in love on the highway. Fall in love on the highway. Pack up and let's drive, fall in love on the highway. Pick a sign on the road to be our exit. Find a spot on a hill to watch the sunset. Sky's on fire, we took the scenic route out. I'm gonna find the right way to tell you that ooh, that's the way you fall in love. You take a little picture of moments that'll form a canvas of the in-betweens. So just drive, fall in love on the highway. Fall in love on the highway. Back up and let's drive. Sky's on fire, you and I taking a picture in my mind.
soul on the road, hand on the wheel, one hand in yours. Sky's on fire, you and I, taking a picture in my mind. Heart and soul on the road, one hand on the wheel. That's the way you fall in love. You take a little picture of moments that'll form a canvas of the in-betweens. So just try falling in love on the highway. Fall in love on the highway. Back up and let's try fall in love on the highway. Back up and let's try fall in love on the highway.
And we're back.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to say, if you want a kombucha that tastes like a good kombucha taste, none of those extra flavors or fruits, Trilogy is the flavor to get.
Now you're gonna need to let me try that one too.
Okay. See, also, here's what you want to do. You don't want to shake it,
No.
but you want to do one full rotation. This is my method, and then a slight swirl,
Okay.
and then slightly crack it. Wait for the bubbles to rise, because the pressure builds, and that's how you open a kombucha bottle
Oh wow.
on Disney Channel.
I feel like we need to cut that out and put that by itself on YouTube. Tag Trilogy and ask for a sponsorship.
That's my favorite flavor.
Oh, I like it.
You want to try it?
Yeah, all right.
Like it.
Everybody's doing it.
Try the cum. Y'all missed it, but while the cameras weren't rolling, I was saying that me and my wife jokingly call it cum. But that's K-O-M, okay? So get your mind out of the gutter. You don't like it.
It's a little, the aftertaste of vinegar is what really
Yeah,
gets me.
it is
That's,
there. Yeah.
Like the actual like sweetness and like the little fruitiness to it, that's not bad.
I might get into it. My fiance wants me to.
Oh my God.
It's new, so
Th-
I'm just
yeah, that's-
enjoying saying.
I
it.
wanna hear about
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. So we what was I talking about? Kombucha. She wants me to stop. She's like, you should stop drinking alcohol for a little bit so we can all get fit, and like we're trying to get fit for the wedding.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's like, if you gave up alcohol, you'd probably lose a lot of weight, and so that
This-
might be a
yes.
good alcohol replacement.
There's also there is alcohol in this, but it's like less than 1%.
I'll take a technicality,
So you could get drunk if you drank like
40 of them.
40 of these.
and I will.
Because it is fermented. It's
Whatever it
fermented tea.
takes.
Yeah.
So when is the wedding? When?
Late spring, early summer.
Okay, awesome. And when did you get engaged? What day?
What day?
Midsummer. Yeah, July 20th.
Okay,
July 20th,
cool.
yeah. So we're less than a month in.
Yeah.
So I'm still like practicing the word fiance,
Yes.
but I like it.
Don't get too used to it because that ends.
Yes.
Oh, but I'm liking it a lot
It's
more
such
than
a
girlfriend.
strange in between time being engaged. It's like we are basically married, but not legally,
Yeah.
and
Right.
we have to plan a party. It's silly. It's so silly.
We have to plan
So
a
I wanted to
party.
ask you, you were very recently engaged and planning a party.
Yeah.
So do you have like any kind of a list of like a top worst or like top thing you did that you're like, I love that we did that. Thank God we did that. We almost didn't, but we did, and that made it. So glad. And then maybe another thing that's like, we did this thing because whatever, we heard you should, or we always thought that's what you're supposed to do, or it was this neat idea, but it sucked. Like, I wish we hadn't done that. That made everything harder. Who needed that? We didn't need that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Moving
Wow. All right. Next question.
So we learned not quickly. It actually took a while to in the planning process to get to this place. At first, we were like, "Fuck tradition. Let's do our own thing. We're creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it took us a while and a lot of changing plans to realize there is a reason the traditional roadmap of a wedding happens the way it happens. And I'm just talking order of events. And it's because it's the least conducive to stress. Even though like it makes the most sense to do it in like everyone comes in and takes their seat. Then we do the ceremony. Then we have a changeover cocktail hour period. Then we have dinner. Then we have speech. Then we dance.
What kind of weird ass order were you trying to do it in?
I'll tell you, we were trying to do
We're gonna
dinner first,
Oh.
and then get to dancing. And then in like the middle of the dance, we were gonna have everyone circle around us and get married in the middle of the circle, which sounds fun.
Sounds cool.
It sounds
yeah.
fun.
Exactly. And we were so excited about this
Logistical
idea.
Nightmare.
But it's like, what do we have to then be standing at the doors and like welcome people in and then tell them where to sit, and like there's no reveal of the bride and there's no reveal of me. It doesn't make sense logistically, and it makes us have to be more social right away. And like we want to have the special intimate time and moments together throughout the night that doesn't require us to be immediately on socially talking to people at dinner.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll have to get people like jazzed up again.
Yes.
Because like high energy dancing
Yes.
and then like beautiful ceremony
Yes.
and then right back in, like that's asking a lot. Or they'll already be drunk, and that won't be a problem when there's different problems.
Exactly. Yeah, there was just it started with us thinking we were going to do a destination wedding with just our family, or with just us. Then it was no, with just our family. Then it was no, we'll do that, but then we'll have a celebration in Texas and a celebration in Cincinnati. Then it was no, we'll do a mosh pit wedding circle thing. And then it was no. And it ended up being literally just like the most normal roadmap for a wedding. And we were like, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
We had to put it through the ringer to realize it makes sense that a wedding happens this way. So don't be afraid of tradition is the bottom line.
Okay, that's great. It's really interesting. Like, I've heard this is just coming out of like a variety of randomly hearing people talking on podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff. But there is sort of like theories of tradition that it is like, as much as like I think we sometimes look at tradition as like, and I think I can for sure, as just like this is some bullcrap. Why is everybody doing the same thing? There is like this like passed down wisdom of the ages where like other people tried weddings for a long time, and like what we're winding up with in 2023 is like super refined and tested and like kind of figured out. And like I don't know, I'm somebody who would like love to reinvent the wheel, but like there's something to be said about just like the wheel's pretty dope.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. And we learned that, and it was awesome. Something I was trying to think of, like, is there anything that we would have done differently or like regretted? It would have been sick if we had a live band, but we could only afford a DJ. So if you can afford a live band, do a live band.
So this is a conversation I'm having with my fiance right now. Today on the way here, we're having this conversation. I really want to do a live band. I do. I'm just in the infancy of researching that, and so I know that budget might be like I concede budget may be a cap on that no matter what happens. But I'm very much of the opinion that it's 100% better in every way, and there is not one reason to have a DJ over a live band.
Besides budget.
But besides budget.
Yes.
She's not there yet. She's like, I don't know why it baffles me a little bit, but I think all of us have probably only really been to our friends. All of our friends have gotten married with DJs. Like probably all of us, right? Like
I've had a couple live bands.
Oh, really?
And those are the ones that I'm like I remember and I loved them the most.
yeah, I feel like every one of my friends always DJ
Really?
100% of the time. And I've yet to see somebody do a live band.
San
and-
Diego is where most of the weddings you've been to are,
Right.
right? And that's not exactly a poppin' music scene like Nashville.
So I just feel like it's so basic. It's the same thing every time. There's like slight flair in different ways. I've seen better and worse, but I'm like in my head, I've done sound for live weddings. I'm pretty positive it's a lot better to have a live band.
It's so fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
trying to convince her of that
Yeah.
and slowly kind of work through the like.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, I'll have to see one. And I'm like, how do you not just envision that that's obviously better? But we're gonna go.
I think if you
we'll
can
go
afford
see
it,
one.
1,000,000% do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
especially
Hey, I'm
you
the kind
work
of
in
the
music.
guy that drives a Tesla. Okay, obviously I can afford it.
You know what? Do it.
Yeah, I've never mind.
Let's talk about your financial situation.
Yeah. Up and down. The times in life of Ryan Poole. But I do think in Nashville we have so many great musicians that I think it could be done pretty affordably.
Yeah.
And I'm also peeking down a rabbit hole. I was talking to, I might as well say it on the show. I was talking to former guest of the show, Luis Espaillat, who is
okay,
also future guest of the show. He's coming on.
Oh, he's coming back?
I think
That guy's dope.
I think next
Amazing.
month he'll be on the show.
Cool.
But he's a bass player who's played for a lot of like big time country guys.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him today, and he's told me that he has put together bands before. So I'm like, so maybe I have a bunch of like Nashville session guys that are like the best musicians you can have.
So you want to like build a band from scratch
build
for
a
your
band.
wedding,
Yeah.
not just like hire a wedding band.
Build a band of high end session players.
Whoa!
Like, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Also, I'll only say this here because she's not going to listen to this episode, but I proposed to her by singing the Keith Urban song "Making Memories of Us,"
Amazing.
and I have a side quest right now to be like, can I somehow convince Keith Urban to come sing that song at our wedding?
Good luck.
I have no connections to Keith Urban,
Yeah.
but don't we all? Because we live in Nashville.
Yes.
Guaranteed. You and I and you, we all know one person who does know
Yes,
Keith
we're
Urban.
like 1 degree removed.
I'm not sure who that person is, but I'm gonna find you.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, hit me up. So
Man. Yeah. No, I would say on your wedding day though, that shit goes fast.
yeah.
I remember
Oh,
it being
yeah.
in like it was like, and we're starting and we're leaving. Like it
Yes.
feels
So is that like
instant.
a waste of your Keith Urban one-time favor?
For the blur that you'll
But
forget him.
there's a
No,
lot of
save
pressure.
Keith for something else.
And you will definitely experience this pressure of like you have to go talk to everybody
Yeah.
and you got to go table to table. And you know what? You don't.
No.
You don't have to
Do
do
your thing.
any of that. Do whatever you want. You're paying for a really expensive party.
Yeah.
And do whatever you want. Like we at a certain point in the night, like we hit up all the important tables, and, you know, like we hit up the families and the grandmas,
Yeah.
and then we were just like, and now we're just drinking.
Totally.
And that was the best.
oh no.
Yeah, you only
Wes-
got a chance to dance for 3 songs,
says Wesley.
says Wesley.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Like it is, yeah. It's and everybody wants your like attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your thing and have a day of wedding planner that's going to be
Yeah.
there during it because she kind of saved our ass and kept us on schedule.
Yeah, because we didn't have one originally, and then like last minute we had Leah do it.
Yeah.
because she was in town, and that was the best thing we could have
Yes.
ever done.
Yeah.
Like take the approach of like you want to get to your wedding day and not have to think about anything because it's all being taken care of.
Yeah. We have people for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what is the new era of Mooney?
Wait,
that was a
hold
hard
on, hold
subject
on, hold on.
change. Yeah.
I want to say mark this timestamp, Wesley, because you probably want to cut this out, maybe. But I was going to say, hey, FYI, like your whole ass boxers are hanging out of your shorts,
Ass boxers.
and I thought you might want to know that.
I don't know, Wesley. Camera.
I say zoom in.
I don't know. Figure I'd just throw it out there. But yeah, I was saying, mark that timestamp in case you want to cut out me telling you that.
I don't really care.
All right. Well, now you know. It's not the best look.
I just like don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Fair
that's
enough.
fine.
You're of the age.
Okay, so what's the new era of Mooney?
Great question. I'm glad you asked. I know when I was last on here, I kind of opened up the world of the Mooneyverse and explained where that started and where it was at the time. The Mooneyverse is still ever expanding and ever vast, but the storyline is kind of honed in a little.
Okay.
To where it's less of there's a new Mooney that's coming into our dimension to release new music, and more of it's the same Mooney the whole time going to different worlds and dimensions. Because that way
Interesting.
I can
A split Mooney.
it can stay truer to like a central figure and less of like you're getting a new whole new person with a whole new identity, and more of it's this person evolved in a new environment.
Okay, so have you rewritten the canon?
The canon, and this is the first I've talked about this publicly, but by the time this releases, I may have already said something about it, and if not, you get a little sneak peek. The canon has been written out and storyboarded into a 30-ish frame comic book that I have been working on with my friend Nick Gutman, who's drawing it all. I like storyboarded it and sketched everything, and it kind of takes us through from Moon EP to Fall in Love. Basically my first EP through all my rest of my EPs to this new single, and tells the lore of Moony so far. Because it's so fun for me to do shit like this, and I want to like encapsulate everything into this like timeline and storyline. So that'll be out soon, and I'm probably going to print a few actual physical pieces of the comic that will be like really, really limited. But yeah, I might roll it out on socials. I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do with it when it's all said and done. But Nick, the guy I'm working with on it, is an incredible artist and is like nailing the comic book style, kind of like the old comic book style. And yeah, it's just like square frames, about 30 of them, and it tells it's like this allegory kind of my life. That's an artistic, poetic take on it all through this loose storyline.
Okay, so it's not like a full-on beginning to end hero's journey story.
No.
It's looser than that, more ethereal than that.
Yes.
Kind of. Okay.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I feel like y'all will eat it up.
Yeah. Well, I loved. Do you know Co-Eating Cambria?
Yes, I haven't listened to them much, but I know.
They have a comic book for their like first 5 albums or something. Like the comic, like they coincided the whole time, and it ended like a novel.
Whoa!
And I love that. I'm not into comics at all. That's the only comic book I've ever read.
That's so cool.
And so I love that idea.
Yeah,
it's so rad. But I like that it's not just like, I don't know, it's not standard. You know, it's like a little more. It sounds like there's a little another layer of depth to it.
Yeah, I've been spending this whole year working on a full-length record, and so much of what I do as I'm building out the world sonically is like figuring out the world visually and like the storyline, and how do we get from podunk to this new era, and how do I tell it? And literally, I mean, I'm sitting here the week that I've started to tell the new story, which is this song Fall in Love, which is a single. It's just being treated like a one-off single, but it is part of a whole new world that will be coming later next year probably. The record is done, and I'm just figuring out now how to like build the world outside of just the songs. And so this first single is Fall in Love, and all the visuals are me with the sky behind me. You can never see the ground. You can only ever see the sky. The artwork is me falling towards the camera, and you can, in the peripheral, see kind of trees coming up beside me. So it's like I'm falling into this new realm, but you don't know what that realm is. All you can see is the sky. And the colors are kind of like a darker muted blues and silvers and whites and grays. So kind of this like icy cold feeling, that, and my hair is all buzzed off and shaved, which is why I've been wearing hats so much, because I'm in this awkward poofy stage right now where wearing a hat looks better. But once the album starts to roll out, it'll be as if I've spent some time in this new world, and finally you can see what's around me, and you can see where I am, and it's like this single is the world between worlds almost, and the in-between phase. Okay. And the comic kind of takes us to how we get to this world from podunk. Because podunk, I'm standing in that dark forest with like the blood and the snake, and it's a little more dark.
Yeah, rewind to podunk a little bit, because when we had you on last, it wasn't like we
That's right.
at least usually
Yes.
talk about on here, the name being podunk. So
Yeah.
like, why podunk?
Yeah.
And what's sort of the
Yeah.
if you had to describe it now that all the songs have been released about podunk, what was that about?
Totally.
Where are we going? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, we can kind of view my EPs as like a chapter in a novel, and podunk was kind of the I've quote lost my way and like don't know where I am or my right from my left, and all I can see is like the immediate things right in front of me, and all I can feel is like the snake around my neck. Podunk itself, the word, I mean, a podunk is like a small, insignificant city, like a podunk city. That's
Right.
what people usually use it as, and that is kind of representative of how I felt a lot of the time when I was writing these songs, is like small and insignificant and invalid in my emotions and feelings, because it rubbed up against the grain of what I had always thought and believed in my worldview. And so also the word podunk is just a captivating word
I was
in a
literally
way,
thinking
and it's
that's
kind
such
of
a weird
silly.
word. Yeah.
It's kind of silly. Like you hear Moony Podunk and it sounds like a kid's album. And it's like this really aggressive, dark, intense, chaotic 6-song EP. And I've always liked to just like mess with people's expectations. So yeah, that world of podunk as it was rolling out and all the visuals alongside of it, it was like me in the woods, me with like blood running down my head, my face, clothes a little bit tattered, barefoot, and it's just like I'm like I'm lost in a forest and I don't know how to find my way out. And now it's as if I have sunk into the earth of that forest and underneath started to fall into a new world. So part of this, the album cover, which people have already seen, you see the sky. The first rendition of that album cover had a big portal behind me that was like a crack in the sky where you could see the podunk forest like up through it, because it's as if I've like fallen down through to this new world. And yeah, I don't want to say too much about the new world and the new album.
They gotta
'cause-
wait till it comes out.
Yeah, but there's a lot that's going into it and a lot of story to tell. But right now I'm in the in-between realm. And that in-between realm is like the sky, light and breezy, and the song is a happy, positive, feel-good love song. Kind of like I started Podunk with Holiday, which was like a fun, upbeat song that then ushered us into this a little darker world. I'm starting with Fall in Love. Fall has 9 L's, like Holiday had 9 L's. There's like a correlation. Everything's connected. That'll lead us into what's to come. But right now it's just like we're taking a breath of the fresh air that I'm in and enjoying our time while it lasts. And so the song starts, the first second of the song starts with a breath in. Holiday started with, we need a breather, like me
Right.
screaming that.
Oh, nice.
And so now we're taking that breather before it's back to impending doom.
Now the original Moony lore, as I understood it, was that like it was a new Moony
Correct.
each album.
Yeah.
Like from a different universe coming in. So now it's the same Moony on a journey.
Yes.
Have you altered the past to be that that didn't happen?
Well,
Or
listen.
was it always the
only
same
like
Moony?
100 people were watching the past, so it's like
Canon is canon.
canon is canon. But when there's not many people paying attention to that
You can
canon,
shift it.
I can kind of do what I want with it. So
Yeah.
We need to start the Moonyverse Reddit
Yeah.
page so we can argue about this.
Yeah.
well, I think honestly, besides on like this podcast last year,
Yeah.
I never have really, and like besides on this podcast, and if someone is paying really close attention, it's not obvious. Like the whole lore of the it's a new Mooney and stuff. That was never obvious. It was just subtle, and I kind of liked it like that.
Yeah.
And I still like I enjoy like the subtlety of rolling out things and hiding things, and I do it all the time. And I don't know if y'all saw anything I did last week on social media with the Candyland board, but that was a whole thing of and I'm fine.
That I didn't go deep enough to figure it out.
Totally.
But I saw that you were talking about Candyland and mangoes.
Yes,
and
yes,
the
and
whole
like,
thing.
and in the last year, I've kind of found through social media and like Discord and stuff, kind of the fans that like eat that shit up, and I like think about them a lot whenever I'm hiding things and doing things, because I know someone will notice, and so far, at least, like people have noticed everything now.
Wow.
And they'll talk about it in my Discord, and it's super fun.
that's
and
fun.
it's
That's cool. You have your own like artist Discord channel?
Yes,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
which like fans can join. So yeah, I've always enjoyed doing that, but kind of changing the lore a little bit. It doesn't. The comic kind of addresses this, and I don't want to give too much away. There are still multiple Moonies, but the one that matters is me,
the true
like
Mooney.
The new
the
Mooney.
one that's going through this. So it doesn't necessarily affect that much of the previous lore because it can still be told. That can be explained away.
Okay, but if you're traveling from a dimension to another,
Yeah.
which sounds like what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Won't there already be a Mooney in that dimension?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a problem? Doesn't like the universe end
Can
or
the
something?
Moonies meet?
Or do you have to kill that Mooney?
Oh, these are all great questions.
he's like,
Let's just
he's like,
say-
damn it, now I gotta go write some more shit.
Is the Discord
No,
gonna like,
I-
rip this episode apart? Like,
I'll just say, just pay attention to the Mooney in front of you. I'm not Marvel trying to like.
now, do you the Mooney of Podunk?
Yeah.
Is like a very dark Mooney. That Mooney has a snake wrapped around him and all sorts of, and you know, the black tar coming out and
Yeah.
all that. So like, and now that Mooney's traveled into like a slightly less dark world.
Yeah.
Do you identify with the dark Mooney? Like, does that feel like your primary Mooney that you, Sethicus, are?
It's in a season, yes. I mean, I write so stream of conscious, and so like what I am dealing with and thinking about in this moment, I'm going to write about. And so Podunk captured a season where I was feeling the just like the anger and aggression that shows in all the visuals. And a lot of what I've been writing recently has been a lot more oh my gosh, my brain is blanking on the word. Not
We'll just silence.
ethereal, not introspective. Existential. That's the word. It's been a lot more existential and like looking at life from 1,000-foot view instead of a like close-up magnifying glass that was Podunk. It was like this specific thing in this circumstance. I still do that to an extent with a lot of the new stuff I've been writing, but it's more kind of heavy or high level stuff like let's talk about the concept of death. Let's sing about the concept of falling in love. Let's talk about how everything is corrupt. Let's talk, it's like it's these things that are more exploratory. And so, yes, I do extremely relate to the Podunk era because I was in it, and it's a reminder almost. But it's like I very much feel like I am not in that season anymore as a human, like as a man,
Yeah.
as a Homo sapien in this world.
So, did you have a thing to go?
No,
I
go
had
ahead.
like a-
Go ahead.
Yeah. Essential.
You lost
I'm
the
trying
thread.
Yeah, I kind of lost the thread. Well, I have one thread I want to go down, but then there was another one that kind of popped up, and I kind of forgot what it was. But
I just think it's interesting how I feel like we are super into the Mooneyverse, like a weird amount. Like we're
I
like
love
asking
it.
like these questions, and you're
No,
like,
ask away. I love talking about this shit.
we love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it. It's just so interesting and like new You know, like that's, you know, I mean, we meet a lot of awesome artists and a lot of great musicians.
And some bad ones.
Rarely.
Won't tell you who.
Rarely. Very rarely.
But one is sitting in this room.
And but most of the time, you know, they're doing the standard thing, the music thing, which is awesome. But I love that there's this other layer to your shit. Like that's something special. That's cool. Not everybody has that, and I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun for me. I enjoy. I do it because I love it. It doesn't, like, it comes very naturally to me, which I'm thankful for. I feel like I could strive really hard to like piece this all together, but I'm thankful that it feels like a natural spillover after the songs have been written, is just to like get to explore how to tell the story. Which is the first time I've felt invigorated to do it in this way with a musical project that I've been a part of, is like wrapping it all in a storyline.
So, okay, so let me ask you this then. So if this is something that comes more naturally to you, something that is just part of who you are. So if you weren't a musician, how, and this is super hypothetical, obviously, how do you think that would have manifested in a different area?
Screenwriting.
Really?
100%. Yeah. And it's something that I have and want to explore more as I grow up.
We get in the Mooney movie?
I mean, I have lots of ideas that I would love to explore that are non-music or Mooney related.
Okay.
But yeah, I love telling stories. So I want to make movies and shows.
Have you done any screenwriting before? I mean, just for yourself even,
Yes.
or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I'm starting to flex that muscle. And I think there's some extent of like I have reached a place in my musical career where I feel like I have made the records I've always dreamt of making. Like my band's last record before I started Mooney, and Podunk, and even the record that I'm working on right now. Those are like 3 examples of records where I'm like, if I died tomorrow, I could like die happy because I made like a few records that I've dreamt of making. And as I'm like rounding this corner of feeling like I have reached this plane of creating a piece of art that I conceptualized prior to starting and then did it exactly like I wanted to do it. I'm feeling the itch to like do that elsewhere in art. And I love film, and that's what feels like the next frontier that I'm very intimidated to like even start getting into, because I feel like there's like
It's a whole other
I'm
thing.
starting too late. I don't know much, I just know I like to watch movies. Like I feel stupid saying it, but I guess that with music it started, I just know I like to listen to songs. So yeah, that's in a dream scenario, like whenever I'm in my 40s, 50s plus, I'm like writing and directing movies. But I like, knock on wood, that feels like awkward and embarrassing to say.
No, I think that's great.
Cool.
I mean, okay, so you said you like movies. You're a film guy.
Yeah.
Have you always been a film guy?
Yeah.
Um,
Disney.
so
And Disney Plus.
are you someone who's very critical of movies?
What do you mean?
Like
negatively critical?
Well, like you see a movie and you can be like that movie was bad, even if it's like commonly like people are like that movie was fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I probably annoy my wife because of that.
I also annoy my wife.
Well, I get out of a movie and I'm just like immediately like, here's what I do and don't like about this, and I'm gonna pick it apart. And
Oh yeah. I mean, that's 100% us. I mean, when we go, huh?
Have you watched Oppenheimer yet?
yes.
I have not seen it yet,
hasn't.
so
We
don't
won't talk about it.
spoiler
for
it.
him.
Well,
Do you have a
there's a
review?
bomb
Yeah.
What?
and it explodes.
Do we have a thing for that?
Nope.
Where's-
Oh no!
That's the bomb.
Nah.
That's the bomb siren.
It was worth a shot, Ryan.
do you have like a review for it?
I
without
don't.
Spoilers.
I don't. I don't want to talk about it because he's not seen it. I don't want to give any
Did
preconceived
you
notions.
Like it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I liked it. I did.
strong-
Yeah, you.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
All right. Wow. Well, I just feel like I love movies. I've
Yeah.
always loved movies. I've seen I used to go when I was first got my car in high school. When I would drive home, there was a video store right outside my high school that was $1 for one night rental. This is like pre-Redbox and all that ever existing. And so I would, on the way home, I'd pick up 2 or 3 movies. If I wasn't doing anything that night, watch 2 or 3 movies, and then bring them back on the way to school the next morning.
Amazing.
And I did that for 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
But I feel like I had seen so many movies that I partially burned myself out on movies, and to the point where now I don't want to watch a movie unless it's awesome.
Yes.
Unless my standards have gotten and to Ryan's hatred, because Ryan will watch any
Chagrin.
terrible garbage movie. No standards, this guy.
Yeah.
And my standards are like, I will not watch 99% of movies.
I won't waste my time on a
Yeah.
movie that is not considered excellent.
Yeah.
I'm that way as well.
Now I'll have some things I watched as a kid. That's
Totally.
that's different.
Yes. And I will say I'm still I've given up on the shows, but I still watch everything Marvel puts out.
Really?
Yeah.
I gave up.
It's hard, dude.
It's so much.
I will. Okay. The caveat there is, I think it's all bad.
At this point, it wasn't always all bad.
Yes.
There was
No.
some
That's
awesome
what I'm saying.
movies, but
everything
nowadays,
since Endgame.
yeah, it's
When we
rough.
went and saw Oppenheimer, I saw a poster for a new one called
The Marvels.
Super Beetle, and I'm like,
Oh.
I feel like they're
Blue
making
Beetle.
them up at Blue Beetle. I was like, I feel like they're making them up at this point. These aren't real superheroes
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I remember when they announced they were going to do a movie of Ant-Man originally, and I was just like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
Like, this is a superhero no one's thought about in 30 years.
Yeah.
And no one
But it
cares.
was a good movie.
And it was a
then
great. I
and then
actually
they
like that
made
one.
3, and he was in all the other
Yeah.
crossover ones.
And I was like,
They can
first
do
one was
whatever they
fine.
want.
Yeah, they have
They're
all the
so
money.
big.
They own the world.
Yes.
So.
It's
I just
true.
had a thought I've never had before, which is, so remember we all have the experience of at various ages of going home and being like, I want to rent a movie. That's exciting. Going to a store
Yes.
and you have to look
Not
for a while.
any store. You're talking about Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
Yes.
But no, I'm actually thinking right now of Video World and Alpine, but
Oh, really?
same
Okay,
deal.
okay.
But you go to the video store and you have to look. Now, that's not that different from today's world. You have to go look. There's a limited selection. How is that different? Swipe versus look. Maybe there's some difference. But here's a thought I've never had
smell.
before. Here's something we used to have that you don't have anymore. You picked a movie just like you do now. But once you picked that movie, you were going to fucking watch that movie.
Yeah.
You couldn't get 10 minutes in and go, this is boring.
Yes.
The end. Let me
Yes.
swap to a different movie. So you never had that buyer's remorse of maybe it's not too late. Fuck this movie, moving on.
Yeah.
And that is something we're missing now.
Yeah.
Is like,
That's so
your
true.
choice
The
is
commitment.
final.
Uh-huh.
I paid $5 for this. We're going to watch this movie. And they say with decisions in general, if you have a lot of the more options you have, the more remorse you have for the option or possible buyer's remorse for what you've chosen,
Yeah.
the more you're like, did I really make the right choice? I feel that way about movies on Amazon,
Yeah.
Netflix, HBO, all the rest. I tried to pick one last night. I failed. I ended up just being on social media and looking at wedding venues.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch anything. And it sucked. And
Yeah.
I wanted to
Ryan.
watch something, and I failed.
Yeah. Looking for a movie sometimes takes the length of
A movie.
a movie.
I wish we had.
True.
I wish we had a video store I could go to. And you're like,
There's
this
probably
is the
one.
new one.
Yeah.
There's probably
Isn't there like
one
one
vid-
blockbuster buster in
He went
Alaska?
there. He took a road
Oh,
trip to go
Oregon?
there or something.
Yeah, I
Oh
went.
my
I went.
gosh.
It
And
was-
it's still fully stocked?
Yeah, the weird part, I think we've talked about it on the show before at some point, but when I went, it just, remember Blockbuster? You've been to Blockbuster before?
Yeah, of course.
It was that. It was normal. I went in, and the weirdest part of it all was it didn't feel weird.
Yeah.
I went an hour and a half out of my way, and I was already 1,000 miles away from home. But I found out about it, went an hour and a half out of my way just to see what Blockbuster was like. Got there, and I'm like,
Oh.
this feels like it never went anywhere.
Did you get a card?
Oh, yeah.
Did you sign up for a membership?
I went in there and I was like, I have to buy something, right? Or a souvenir. Maybe I'll buy an old DVD, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I was just like, I walked
So
around.
do they? Can you
Cool.
rent or do you have
Yeah.
to just buy?
No, you
DVDs?
can rent.
Wow.
For that community in,
Yeah.
I forget what part of Oregon. It was near Portland,
Yeah.
an hour away from Portland. In that area, you can just rent from Blockbuster.
That's
just
great.
like it always was. Bend, Oregon?
Bend.
Yeah. So they made a documentary about it. It was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I saw something about that.
That's so
It's-
wild.
I'm glad it's out there, but it's not worth the journey.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like, but how many times have you told that story of you've gone to Blockbuster?
Oh, yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
worth the journey.
yeah.
At least 6.
Yeah, totally.
We didn't
worth
have
the journey.
Blockbuster in Singapore, so I don't remember the exact name of the store, but I can envision it.
What language do they speak in Singapore?
English and Mandarin.
Okay.
Is that the actual last one, Wes? Yeah, that's the last one. Still existing to this day.
Yeah.
That's so rad.
It's so cool. Yeah, everyone speaks English.
Okay.
It was originally a British colony,
Hmm.
and it's not anymore. But like the national language is English and Mandarin. So
Oh, crazy.
I never had to learn another language.
Oh,
Convenient.
wow. Did you learn any?
But
you
also
didn't
kind of
learn
a
any
We
bummer.
had
Mandarin?
like Mandarin class in elementary school for a couple years, but I didn't really retain. I didn't retain
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause- and I went to an international school, so all my friends were either American or Australian or Korean, surprisingly. So I didn't really have Singaporean friends.
His wife has learned some Mandarin.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
she lived in China for a year.
Cool.
When we first started dating.
Cool.
It's like we started dating for a month. She's like, I'm leaving for a year.
Oh.
And so somehow that worked out.
Yeah.
But no, it's I lost train of thought there. But I didn't want to say so.
Hard shift from Mandarin.
No, where movies are, I feel like personally most movies that come out nowadays are not good. I feel like it's tough. It's hard to find a new movie that's good. I feel the opposite way about TV shows. I feel like TV shows are movie quality now.
Yeah.
And they actually still put in, I don't know, the effort. Not that
Totally.
they don't put in effort to make like a movie.
Yeah.
Like obviously that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like movies are just constantly plummeting in quality,
Yeah.
except for the occasional random good one. And TV shows are like phenomenal now.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, we never had that.
Yeah.
All we had was movies if you wanted a really good story.
That's true.
And you don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
And also, you don't need to go to the theater anymore.
It's crazy. Dude, the last couple weekends, being back in the theater for Barbie and Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer, I'm like, the movies are back. It was just packed. And it made me really
That's
happy.
weird. I
Wow.
haven't seen a packed theater.
I
in
know.
a
I
long
haven't since
time.
before COVID, and it was very encouraging to see.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, I do agree
it
that
was hard
shows-
to get into Oppenheimer.
Shows are great. Yeah, I ended up not getting to see it in IMAX because we went. I mean, I guess we could have. I don't
felt
know.
like after-
Movie Pass is back, and we have it.
Oh, really?
And
It's not as
it's
good
limiting.
as it was, but it is still pretty
But we
nice.
have literally seen 3 movies for free this month
Yeah.
because of it.
Oh, wow. After watching Oppenheimer in IMAX, I kind of felt like I could have just seen it in normal and it would have been fine. But
I don't feel like I.
Wesley's not shaking
Missed
his
out.
head, but he does disagree.
It's the same story,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's a little less
smaller.
loud.
No, you saw it in fake IMAX. I saw it in Cool Springs at the Thoroughbred 20, and Wesley has pointed out that they only have true 70 millimeter
at the Opry Mills.
at Opry
yeah.
Mills,
We
which
tried to get
I
into
didn't
that
know.
one, but we just couldn't.
It was I looked at the seating chart, 3 hours in advance, and it was completely full except
Yeah.
for like the worst
The
possible
one
seat
in the
right in the
front
middle.
where you
Yeah,
look up.
those seats shouldn't even be there. By the way,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Or at least be discounted. If it was
Yeah.
half the price, that'd be fair.
Yeah.
But like you're not
Yeah.
enjoying your time as much. It's just it's not worth the price, especially because movies they're not $8 like they were.
Yeah.
Unless you have Movie Pass and they're free.
Oh my God, y'all should get it. We've saved so much money this
Yeah.
month.
What is the current Movie Pass deal?
You can do a $10, $20, or $30 a month plan. 10 gets you like 30 something credits, and then it's just credit based. And then if you go into like a matinee showing, it might be 10 credits. If you're going to like opening weekend, it might be 30 credits. But you can only get it like there at the kiosk, so you can't book in advance. So it's hard. It's
interesting.
hard to get like it's hard to see a release weekend. But if you can play the game right, we quite literally have saved over $70 the last month
Oh wow.
on movies because
Wow.
we're paying for two $10 a month plans, and we've seen 3 movies.
Mission
$10 a month's a
Impossible,
good deal.
worthwhile?
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like they do action the best of any movie.
Right. Well, they're like 30 movies in. They've had a lot of practice.
Yes. I was like
Barbie?
giddy. Barbie was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some good movies out there.
I'm like scared to share my opinions on the biggest movies of the summer
Yeah.
on a public podcast
that wild?
most people loved, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of this that I didn't love.
Yeah.
But there was a lot that I did love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, around the Barbie movie specifically, there's a lot of like weird controversy things going around. And
Oh,
people
all
mad,
that
and
is all that
so
is
dumb.
shit. Yeah, I didn't not like it because of those reasons.
Okay.
And I didn't not like it. I did like it.
You liked it.
I liked it a lot, and I thought it was hilarious and really creative and well put together. Yeah, there were just certain qualms I had with like little parts that don't matter.
Yeah, but those things do matter.
Film guys.
They do matter.
We'll talk about it later.
Now, for a less
I
controversial,
haven't seen it.
Yeah.
less controversial topic, religion.
Then Barbie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the fact that Barbie can be a controversial topic on a podcast right now. Oh,
Really shows
what a
how far we've
weird
fallen.
world. What a weird world.
The world is odd. Oh, you actually, this is a side note, but you have a tattoo that's very similar to a tattoo I've thought about. Your palm tree into the sunset.
Oh yeah.
I've looked at getting that kind of a sunset several times. Each time I've gotten a tattoo, I've looked at a sunset like that, and I thought about it.
You should do it.
And
you
I
should
didn't
get
do
this
it.
exact same one.
I
and
will.
we can match.
Now, by the way, this is a
Twinsies.
better topic.
Here, I'll get towards the camera.
Then religion.
Yes, you recently did a thing with Timothy Edward Carpenter
What did I do?
where
oh
he
yeah.
did Mooney tattoos.
Yes.
You didn't. You
What?
probably didn't see this because you're not on
Yes.
Instagram.
We did a Moony flash sheet and like 15, maybe 13. I think 13 people are walking around with Moony tattoos right now.
What does it look like? Is it all the
I'll
same
show
one?
you the flash sheet. Or maybe, well, it's not on Instagram anymore.
I thought about it and I just didn't have the balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised anyone
It
did.
wasn't
I
in my
literally
heart.
thought no one was going to do it. And then like 13 people did. The funniest one is the elephant that I'm about to show you that was part
yeah.
of this flash sheet. My brother used to draw that elephant on everything as a kid, and even into his adult life, just as a joke. And I put it on a Mooney shirt because I've always said that I one day want to have it
Yeah.
on something. And then I put it on this flash sheet, and it was like one of the more popular designs.
Really?
Oh wow!
I have it on my leg.
Okay.
the
So for the
elephant.
uninitiated, I assume flash sheets like a template, like the design options.
Yes, those are the options.
Oh, these are pretty cool. It's not like they just wrote like Mooney
No.
on their chest.
No.
These are like cool. Like, okay, wait.
think
Is
the-
this the elephant one you're talking about?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have it on my leg. John Class has it on his arm.
Oh wow!
Okay. So,
Yeah. So-
okay. Well, now
so-
I got
But my
ask.
family was just losing their minds at the fact that people were getting this elephant on them for forever. They thought it was so funny.
Arms and legs only.
So they put this. He put this out in conjunction with Tim, and it was like super discounted rate, and you could just do one of those designs. I was close.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
And
they
they're like
a
they're
day.
universal enough. Besides, maybe they're like universal enough to where my hope
Right.
was that you can just view this as like I'm getting a cool cheap tattoo by a really good artist, and it doesn't have to do with Mooney. But then a lot of people did it. So
And
Okay.
it does have to
Abby
do
got the
with Mooney.
snake.
That's
Yeah,
all.
I got
Did
the
you
elephant.
Get one? You got the elephant.
Yeah, right on my leg. Tim's done this little like dynamite stick on my leg, and then an elephant right next to it, and then I'm gonna get a kind of bigger piece right here that is it's a wizard rat coming out of a portal of a forest, and it says a wizard rat approaches. Or a wizard rat appears, because I think it's awesome, and it's like kind of pixely video game looking, the like design that I have. But I'm curious what he's gonna turn it into, and I'm so excited for that. I could think about that rat tattoo every day. I haven't gotten it yet.
Do you have like a workup of it
Yes,
or anything? I want to see that. I want to see what
Yes.
it looks like. I have no tattoos, and I have for years been like, one day I'll get a tattoo,
a wizard
but
rat
I've just
appears.
I've never done it.
Oh, why is this? Okay, it's like highlighting the word wizard because I
Sure.
texted it or typed it, but
Oh, that's dope looking.
Isn't
That's
that
way cooler than
awesome?
what I pictured in my head.
no, it's gonna be so sick.
That's super rad.
Which Tim's gonna do like his rendition of it, so I don't know exactly how it'll look in the end, but that's the basic concept.
Man, yeah, that's super.
But
super
just
rad.
imagine that just right there with
Yeah.
the text. The text is very crucial to this. A wizard rat appears.
Oh man. Oh, that's dope. Man, we had after when he came on, Timothy Edward Carpenter, which I could just call him Timothy. I feel like I feel like I don't need to say all three names every time I mention
Tech.
Tech,
Classic
as we
Tech.
call him. He convinced me like, oh, I should just get a tattoo. I haven't yet, but because he talked a lot about how people take it so seriously for their first tattoo.
Yeah.
Which I 100% am that guy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, maybe I should just not be that guy and just go get something dumb.
Dude,
And
yeah.
Just like break
It's very
that seal.
liberating. It's very liberating
Yeah, it
to
is.
realize that nothing matters.
Yeah, that's what I should get.
But
Nothing
everything
matters.
does.
No. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, back to religion. So
Oh yeah.
was a
Were
good
we ever
segue.
even there?
we were
weren't.
not.
No, I'm bringing it up in a very like hesitant, like we don't have to go their way.
No.
But one thing I didn't think about this till after our last interview with you,
Mm-hmm.
but like I started thinking about the lyrics of Holiday, and I was like, I think there are undertones here of like religion, and I think the more like just from a with you from like an obscure view, I'm like watching what you're doing. I think that there's some messages here, or there's some ideas, or that's something you're playing with, and with your background, it makes sense. But as we've interviewed many people who are your friends, we've had like more like actually we've talked about religion on the podcast with a lot of them, and so I'm curious: is that something that you're interested in talking about in an open way? Or with the Moonyverse, because you do like to hide things and kind of keep things, do you prefer to keep that a little more oblique to like allow people to like make their own kind of judgments on
kind of
things?
interpret
Like
it
how does
themselves.
that fit into how does the idea of religion fit into the Moonyverse
Yeah.
and the lore?
Yeah, I think in some ways, just like I'll use the word spirituality because I think of it in that way more than religion.
Yeah.
In some ways, I feel like it is the great either blessing or curse of my life where I just like view it all through such spiritual lens. Sometimes to my demise and sometimes to my encouragement. And it can fuck with me a lot of the time, but it can also like enhance everything a lot of the time. And so I very naturally am writing about the things I am questioning. And I've always been one that like, I'm going to write a song and every single line in it has very specific meaning to me, but I'm not going to be one that's going to like post a TikTok that's like, this lyric means this and this is this and here's what everything means. I'd rather people interpret it for themselves. And I've found through my years of doing music, when people have like approached me with like, oh, this song meant this to me, thank you, or like just hearing their interpretations is so incredible and like so encouraging and even like sheds new light on the song for me because maybe they're interpreting it in a way that I wasn't thinking about, or maybe it is in the way I was thinking about. And so I'm not the type that like goes on social media and like opens up about my whole new world spiritual view. I'm totally like chill to talk about it if people ask like directly and if we're hanging out and if I like know the people. But yeah, I would say I am not a religious person, but I am a very spiritual person, and I don't know what to call myself, like if that's like Christian or whatever, or universalist or I don't know like
just
what
make up some
label
new
to put
word.
on it, which is why sometimes it feels like strange to talk about because the question mark on the label is only a recent thing in the last couple years. So yeah, I it's there, especially in my new record. As you're listening through, it's like you can feel and hear and sense the bigger picture of it all and the divine nature of it all, and kind of where my brain circles with that. But I'm never saying anything too direct. There's a line in the title track of the record that says, "There's a thin film on life. Peel it off and you might find that the world you see is a fragile thing, but it's only in your mind. Oh my God, it's way too heavy. Crawl back in my mama's belly. Sink into the earth, I'm ready. Flesh and bone are so unsteady." And that is kind of like a thesis. That's why this is the title track. That's kind of a thesis of like, this is where my head's been at for the last couple of years of like, I'm like peeling back the thin film on so many things in my life and figuring out what to keep, what to throw away, what matters, what doesn't, and how it all relates to my soul and my place here on earth with others, with God, with my past, with my future. And yeah, it's like weird that it helps me to write songs and build worlds around the weird questions that are always in my head, and answers that are always in my head. Like, it's not just all questions. Podunk was a lot of questions. I feel like I answer a lot of questions in the new stuff I've been writing. But yeah, I think we live in a very gray world, and there are a few things that are black and white, and I'm trying to figure that out all the time.
But there are a few, like Chicago pizza is not pizza.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Of course.
Okay. Just to be
Ketchup
clear.
does belong on a hot dog.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys are like murdering my fiance.
But yeah, does
That's
that make
my fiance.
does that make kind of sense? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
I love God. I believe there is a God out there, and that he somehow, for some reason, cares about me. And I'm figuring it all out.
Yeah.
I have my whole life figured out.
So in some ways, would your wedding be like a good metaphor for your process? Like,
What do you mean?
fuck tradition, we can make it ourselves, and then like, wait, but some of these things actually were pretty good.
Yeah. Honestly, totally. I think, deconstruction is a very trendy, topical word in the evangelical community, which is the community I came from. And I think that, yeah, once you fully deconstruct it, it can feel like there's nothing left and there's no point left. And I think I'm finding and learning that, yeah, there are things I can still cherish and value from before, and there's new things that I'm finding as well.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we should play another song.
Oh yeah. What's the next?
We have a
song?
second.
Yeah, it's very topical because this next song is called Sacrilegious. And yeah, I'm going to do kind of a shortened version of it, but it's from my EP Podunk.
I was unaware that you saved my life, and it caught me by surprise. Now it feels like I'm living. I try to emphasize that I found my place, but it got away. Yeah, it got away again. I was unaware that you saved my life, and it caught me by surprise. Now it feels like I'm living. I try to emphasize that I found my place, but it got away. Yeah, it got away again. Go home, give it up, son, and be somebody else. Head low, you're singing your song in a place that no one knows. You're so slow, figure it out while your head is in a book. Keep your head low. dark. 2 steps forward and it's 3 steps back. One more shot in the dark. 2 steps forward and it's 3 steps back. One more shot in the dark. 2 steps forward and it's 3 steps back. One more shot in the dark.
And we're back. Sorry, no warning.
So that was sacrilegious.
Yes. Yeah.
That was very sacrilegious what you did in there.
I know. Me singing that song on my guitar.
For the audio-only listeners, he was naked, and there was like a ring of candles on fire, and there was a pentagram.
Yeah.
No, it was just a song. It was just a song,
Yeah.
as far as we know.
It's never just a song, Ryan.
It's always deeper. There's always some deeper shit behind it. I have no idea where to go.
I was like, where are you going with this, Ryan?
I want to say a quick thing that kind of sums up what we were talking about before with faith and religion. I think in the midst of the chaos and in the midst of the reworking and rewiring my belief structure, my life, my worldview, whatever, life is beautiful and this world is beautiful. And I genuinely, truly, strongly believe that. And I think the beauty in all ways, like trumps the chaos and the confusion and the shit. And that is what I am trying to lean into and chase. And a lot of what kind of the underlying message in all of this is. I know whenever I was last on here, you asked, what does "We Are All Moony" mean? And then I never really answered it. But like that even ties into kind of what this means is like me doing this project that is moony, to me feels like I have like captured and found the thing that gives me the most life and joy to do. And that is creating this art project that is this thing called Moony. And I feel like it has helped me like find myself and come alive in so many ways just in the last 2 years of starting it. And so this idea of "we are all Moony," it's kind of saying like you and Wesley, like we have the potential and ability to find the thing that you love the most and do it to the best of your ability, then like that is you being Moony, basically. Like it took me to find, like Moony always existed. I just had to find him to realize like this is like me at full form almost. And I think we are all at full form when we're doing the thing we love the most to the best of our ability that gives us life and the people around us life. And so that's what I hope to do with this project is not only like kind of continually heal myself, but also heal the people around me. And that's why "We Are All Moony," because it feels like it's bigger than just me. And I don't mean that in like a listeners and number and fan base sense. I mean that in a very like spiritual, we're all connected sense.
Do you feel like, so it feels to me like Podunk, a lot of the lyrics seem like they throw off like old expectations you had on yourself. Like Podunk, if you're coming from a more, you haven't put this label to it, but just guessing, like a conservative Christian background, like Podunk would seem to like defy it to some extent. Do you feel like you needed to defy it to some extent in order to like come to some sort of equilibrium where you can make new choices? Like in a sense, this is interesting. Did I talk about this on the podcast just recently? stop me if I explain this already, but my fiance and I are doing premarital counseling, and we were talking to our counselor recently about our counselor brought up this idea of shitting the nest. Did I talk about this?
No.
So shitting the nest is like a developmental stage people go through if the nest holds them in. Like if your parents aren't ready to let you go and they're just like, everything's great. Nah, you're fine being here. There's a thing that especially like teenage years you do where you shit the nest. You start being crazy. You start fucking up. You start getting in trouble, being defiant. And that stage is because to develop further, you have to like grow up, get out of the nest, get out of your parents' home and do something else. And so there's this phase we go through, which essentially convinces your parents to let you go, to be like, please get the hell out of my home. I can't wait till you're 18. Now, I don't think that happens with everybody, but it probably especially happens with people whose parents are like, stay forever. You're like, no, I'm going to, almost get my girlfriend pregnant. And they're like, leave now. And so it's called shitting the nest. And I wonder if there's something about like, it kind of ties in with deconstruction, but like with the podunk phase of like a almost shitting the nest of like you had in I forget what the song is called. Is it Machine? You have a song called Machine? Yeah, where you have like, I put a quarter in and nothing happens. Like, now this is my interpretation. You're not saying this, but I'm like,
That's all right. You're also Moony, so it's...
I am Moony, so I have some right to share.
Exactly.
No, it feels from my interpretation, I felt like you're talking about like God and prayer and just like I put a quarter in and nothing happened. Like I tried, it doesn't work. That's how I heard it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the podunk Moony, it's an elaboration. Like you're here today, you don't have a snake around you with your shirt off and like fucking like all
Well, he might if you watch the video.
Yeah, like how big is that shirt? Is there a snake under there right now?
Snake at all times around my waist, underneath my clothes.
Wesley, take a note. That needs to be the episode title, Snake at All Times.
Snake at all times.
Snake at all times. But it almost feels like the podunk is like there's an exaggeration happening. And I wonder if like in some ways that's like a shitting of the nest where you have to like go, okay, everybody thinks of me in one specific way and there's certain boundaries around who I am and who I can or can't be. But kind of like getting your first tattoo is a certain form of freedom where you're like, I'm allowed to put something on my body forever and it's fine.
Yeah.
And so you go like, I can take off my shirt and put a snake around me and it's black around and there's tar and what might people say? But that era of Moony is very much like, in my opinion, this is my opinion, but like that era of Moony to me is very like, it doesn't matter what people might say.
Yeah.
It's so out there that you no longer have to be like, are people going to be thinking this or that about my lyrics? And so then after you go there, you can go like wherever you want because you no longer have to care if people are going to think it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, I'm vomiting fucking tar from my mouth. Could it get worse?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
shut up, Grandma.
I love everything you just said. I've never heard it put in that way. And the idea
Me
of
either. I'm
shitting
4
the
White
nest
Claws in, and here we are.
Yeah. No, that's like a depth of wisdom 4 White Claws in. Yeah, I never think I never shit the nest in like a familial sense, like with my parents or anything like that. I was like a really good rule follower, obedient kid most of my life. And so in some ways I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of newfound freedom to try and explore things in some way is like a version for me of shitting the nest. So I love that. Yeah, like I love that you're putting it into those words. I do think before Podunk, honestly, like my first EP, Moon EP, felt like that for me first. The visuals might not have been as like intense and visceral around it, but the songs, this is so stupid, but like it was the first time I'd written a song with a curse word in it. And I think I even talked about this last time I was in here, but like,
It was like a big deal.
it was like a big deal for me at the time, thinking about releasing it, not writing it. Like writing it felt very natural to me, but then starting to think about releasing it. And so I think getting past Moon EP made me be like that was the initial shit. Now let's shit and piss with Podunk. Cause yeah, like being able to, my biggest fear is being misunderstood and being put into a box. And I don't mean like a genre box or like I just mean like for myself. Like I don't want to, I want to do too many things to stick to one thing with my whole life. And doing and writing Podunk and producing it out the way that we did was a like, yeah, I'm going to throw off any preconceived notions. And even now going into Fall-in-Love, it's like Fall-in-Love sounds nothing like Podunk. It's like a indie pop rock song that's like a really good fucking vibe and like talks about falling in love with the person that you want to marry, and is like simple, and that's not what just happened with Podunk. And I think, yeah, I love the shitting of the nest thing. That's so good. I think that's totally what Podunk is in a way, but I think it started even before that. And I think being able to do it's so weird that like my career requires me to be public. I mean, it is me being public about this, like certain versions of me that I show. I don't know where I was going with this thought. It's just it's a weird career, and it's weird to like put my life on display in certain ways, and sometimes I want to shake things up, and I think that's what was fun about Podunk for me. It was fun for me. You know, it may have seemed concerning from an outside perspective to a certain sect of people, but it was such a blast. It was so fun and like freeing and liberating, and like the songs were, you know, hard to get through and work on and stuff, but it was like it ultimately led to bigger and better things. And even I mentioned like a Podunk is like a magnifying glass to a specific thing, and now the new things are a little more existential. Like the magnifying glass to the specific things through releasing Podunk and like being able to talk to my family about it and like other people about it, it like brought healing and mending and better relational health through the like visceral nature of the project. So I think ultimately it led to hope, even though it was started in a dark place.
Maybe
Now you said,
sorry, you go. You're continuing on this topic.
yeah.
Okay, go.
Um,
We need a shorthand for that, like a word.
Sure.
Beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start talking to beans. Okay, so you said something there that like clicked with me right away because I was literally thinking about this earlier today, which is you said you have a need to be understood. You want people to understand. And I was thinking about that myself because I have some habits, and I was like, why do I do these things? And one of those habits is I repeat myself a lot. I have like 10 things that I say. If I have an opinion about something, I will say that 1,000 times. And I think part of that is because I have this need to be understood. And I'm like, I feel like you don't understand. And so I'm going to keep saying this until you do. I don't think about that consciously, but that is kind of how that, I think, manifests itself in me amongst other ways.
I do that too.
Do you do that too?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed that. But I feel like I'm a super repetitive bitch. Like I literally, like, you could have a doll with like a pull string that says 10 things and I didn't even need to be here. Like it covers it. But do you think that need to be understood is, do you think people understand you a lot more than you think they do? You know what I mean?
I think that they don't understand me.
At all.
No, not at all.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
But besides, like, yeah, I mean, this is obvious, but like, besides the people in my life that are the closest to me, I think they only understand a nuanced view of me that I choose to present. But I'm choosing it very intentionally.
And is that view like expanding over time, or
Yeah,
is it staying
it's-
in its limited?
No, it's
path?
It's different for everything. It's different the whole time. Everything is new. It's a new side of me. It's a new Moony and a new,
Right.
not new Moony. It's
Right.
it's a new storyline with each new thing, and but there's a through line through it all. So you're like compiling things about Seth Finley along the way, and when it's all said and
Sethicus.
done, Sethicus, Finleyicus, and when it's all said and done, you might have a like fragmented picture of who I am, but you'll never know the real me.
Right. Because I mean that takes
Yeah.
knowing you actually, and even then, at what extent do people even know anybody?
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you want people to know you more, or do you enjoy being able to like create some level of a facade?
I enjoy the facade. I really do. I feel like Moony, in some ways, is like, I mean, yes, it's me, and it's a very authentic version of me, and a story from me, and thoughts from me, but it is like a character in a way. And I enjoy getting to like wrap it up in this character. Like, there's a reason my artist name isn't Seth Finley.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do that.
Is it just like too vulnerable, essentially?
It feels too, like, I feel like if I started a project that was Seth Finley, it would have to, there's too much pressure on that almost. Like,
It has to be like the ultimate defining.
yeah, I guess
version
so.
of
Like, this
and I'm
is
not,
who
and I'm
Seth
not
is.
even saying that like Moony isn't that, because I genuinely feel like
Yeah.
Moony is that. But there's something about wrapping it up in another name that was a nickname from my childhood, and like giving that to the world as the most authentic presentation of myself that makes it feel more fun and exciting to me, and like I can do more with it.
Yeah, I hear that. It's more malleable.
Yes.
You have more like direct control over
Your,
it.
your nickname can be shifted, and you can always fucking ditch it and go back to Seth Finley, or create a new nickname.
Shifted?
Shift it.
Shift it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like you can if things go too wrong, like if you think of like a movie where like they did you ever watch 11/22/63?
Yes.
So good.
So after spoilers, but it's 10 years down the road, so fuck you.
I mean,
It-
from 63, it's like 70
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But like after he finally succeeds on his mission, all of a sudden he comes to find that, by changing the past, the world he's created is completely demolished.
Yeah.
And in some ways, there is always like with tweaking with timelines, you can wind up with like a weird dystopian future. And so if you make Moony dystopian on accident, if you accidentally go there and it's like the world of Moony is in ruins, you can abandon Moony and you can go with a different nickname, a moniker you create, Seth Findley, you can create a band name, go a million different directions. But like your name is personal to you.
Yeah.
You come out with
Yeah.
that, it gets dystopian, and how do you save that?
That's the thing for me, is like Seth Finley feels a little too personal, which is ironic to say because Moony is the most personal music I've ever made. But there's something like sacred about Seth Joseph Finley that like I just want that for me.
yeah,
The
you're
old
free.
SJF.
Yeah.
I think we could wrap this with a section of this is, I don't know if this will make any sense anymore because it was referencing something you said 10, 15 minutes ago.
Great.
But I think if we went to Moony 214, a quick reading. I love my sisters and brother and parents, and I'm over the moon that we're going to be parents. Ha ha. Let's all meditate on that verse from Moony.
Yeah, what do y'all think that means?
I remember last time you explained to us the addition of the haha, and I enjoyed that. I was like, that's great. I
We're
love
not pregnant.
it. Man, I do love it. Now, if you had to choose.
Is this gonna be the same question?
Oh, God, I'm just kidding. We're not going to ask you the same question. We're not.
Okay,
We have not thought about what we do.
Yeah, what do we do here? I had a thought.
Yeah?
One is that I could come up with a question.
Oh my god.
I
new.
think.
Different
Wait.
question.
What if y'all come up with the question by saying one word each until it forms a question?
Okay, I like that.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
do
into it. I'm into it.
All right. But we do have one question we ask every single guest.
Sure. And we got to start with it. If you had to choose.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do. Now, the important thing about this question is the answer must come immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, it must not come.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Wait.
Yeah,
We've
you're
never done this.
It
fucking
must.
it.
It must come immediately.
It must come kombucha immediately. We're doing this a little backwards. Now, what that means is I don't want an answer from here.
Yes.
And for the podcast listeners, he's pointing to his head.
Yes.
I want an answer that comes
From
here.
here, my ass.
For the podcast listeners, he's pointing to his heart.
No, we're both pointing to our ass.
And he just pushed the
Follow.
button with his toe.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
I've done that before. But if you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do, what
Would
you
say
is
your
favorite
kind
of
turtle? God damn it! We had to
Snapping!
no, god
Wait.
damn you, jury. That well, do it.
You shouldn't have given me. We were on the backwards word.
Okay, now you,
Jesus. Oh Jesus Christ.
That was
but you started
everybody.
then.
You were so bad. Yeah, you started.
I was like, I only know one question. I don't know.
And by the way,
I have one skill.
It's like the pull on the lever doll. That's one of the 10 things you say. What's your favorite kind of turtle?
I have said that a lot.
That would be your doll. Now, we should start the other way around.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay.
Also, it doesn't have to be favorite.
You're right. Well, I don't know what words. I only know 6 words. What?
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do,
I'm so not used to being on this.
what
What?
say- would
You
say
if
I
did
the
amazing
trick
of
pulling down my hat?
and
That was a lot of words. I had no eyes.
this is the worst question I've ever heard in my life.
I wanted to say pulling down my pants, but then I was like, I'll have to do that. I don't want to do that. We're on camera.
So if you pulled down your hat and you had no eyes, what would I say?
Yeah.
My gut reaction. We're both wearing the same hat.
That's so true.
We were never supposed to acknowledge that. We broke the rule.
We broke everything. Everything broke at the end of this episode. But you followed the format of the question better than we did. So now that you've acknowledged it, we will say that Seth and I both wore the same hat to the show today. Not planned.
Shout out Gabrielle Grace, friend of the show and in real life.
Two Sides, her new album.
Yes, go listen.
And we will have the producer for the album is coming on the show, I
nice.
think in November. So
Very cool.
Cool.
there we go.
But before we get out of here, after that severely botched question,
I want to delete
That's
that
an
part
awesome
from
question.
the episode.
Perfect.
But before we get out of here,
oh,
where can the people find you?
yeah,
They can find me.
One button that's gone now.
They can find me on anywhere at Seth is Moony. Seth is Moony.
And your personal address?
And my personal address is
Not a second time.
a secret.
All right.
That's what you should have said the first time.
Yeah.
But you've done it right in the end.
But also, by the time you're listening to this, it'll be out. But there's a new song coming out this week.
Yes, it comes out tomorrow night. But for you guys, it's already out.
Right, because we're
You listeners,
a couple weeks down the road.
because we don't record this live every time
Well, we do
they
record
listen.
it live.
No. Every
We are
time someone
here.
is listening and
Yes.
clicks on it, we are actually live.
Yeah, that would be exhausting. Can you imagine? We're just waiting. And it's
But
like,
we
God,
are recording it live in this room.
There's got to be a person out there that thinks the internet is like that. Like they hit play
Yeah.
and then we're like, oh, hey, guys, we're putting music on.
Babies.
babies.
Babies feel that way, idiots. So we're actually going to go out on the new song, Fall in Love with 9 L's. This is where you end the show.
Oh.
You've lost without the turtle
Without
question.
the turtle
you don't
question,
know-
I don't know what I am. I don't know who I am anymore.
You're like, you stole his pull string, and now he's just a doll, a lifeless doll. We should have ended
really
it when
like
I
that-
quoted Second Moonies.
I really did like that you added another 9 L's. I love that. I heard I was in here trying to fix that mic. It was like messed up, and I heard you say that in there, and I was like, 9 L's, love it. But anyways, guys, as always, you guys are awesome, and we will see y'all next time.
Let's drive to the back country of all the sunlight. I wanna catch that glimmer in your eyes. We'll get out of